Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the new dean of ASU's Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts talks about creativity and higher education. And artist and author Bob Bozbel tells us how he got his kicks growing up along Route 66. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Pima County Board of Supervisors today rejected a request from Congressman Ron Barber's campaign to delay certifying election results in Barber's race against Republican challenger Martha McSally in Congressional District 2. Now, Barber trails McSally by 161 votes. Barber's attorneys argued for more time to consider counting ballots from voters whose names were not on the rolls at their new polling places. The board voted 4-1 against that idea. The Barber campaign will now consider an appeal to state election officials. ASU's Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts has a new dean. He is Stephen Tepper, a social scientist and policy scholar, and one of the nation's top authorities on creativity and cultural participation. Stephen Tepper joins us now to talk about his new role and his vision for the Institute. Welcome to Arizona Horizon.
Thank you.
Good to have you. What is this institute designed to do?
Well, it's the largest comprehensive design and art school in the nation. We have more than 4,600 majors, and it's combined 5 different art schools into one institute, and we have a museum attached to it. So we have a school of design, which includes design and architecture. We have a school of film, dance and theater, a school of art, media and engineering, a school of music, and a school of art. So that's an incredible set of programs, 120 different degrees and programs. So students have, if they want to be creative, they can do it all at the Herberger Institute.
It sounds like, though, it's more than just being creative. The concept of cultural participation and how that creativity moves over into society. Talk to us about what all that means and the importance of it.
Well, in many ways, just a little historical context here. In the 19th century, the arts were part of everybody's everyday life. You know, if you wanted to listen to music, you played it on your front porch, or you played the piano in your parlor. If you wanted an image of a loved one, you drew it yourself. If you wanted to listen to Shakespeare, you performed it. The 20th century was an era where national markets were created to deliver art and culture to us as passive consumers. And the 21st century is really an opportunity to place the arts back at the center of everyday life. And so the Herberger Institute is really sees itself as trying to put forward new ways that the arts can matter in the world and not be off to the side as a grace note or a fringe.
So talk about some of the ways that arts can matter now in the modern world.
Yeah, so one of the things that as a core design principle of our institute is that the arts are critical for developing core creative competencies. So we're living in what many people call the creative age, the rise of the creative class. Cities are competing with each other to attract creative workers. The 1,500 top CEOs, when they were surveyed, say creativity is the one thing that is most important to them in hiring recent graduates. And so where does that creativity come from? How do you learn it? Well, we know that it's not just innate, that actually there's a sort of creative muscle that you have to practice and exercise and get better at. And we're convinced that that happens at the best design and art schools. Students learn how to deal with ambiguity. They learn how to be generative, to come up with lots of ideas. They learn how to radically revise their ideas. They learn how to use analogies and metaphors to think of things that are sort of outside of what's expected. They learn how to collaborate around emergent creative projects where the solution is unknown. They not only problem solve, but they find problems that the rest of us don't see. This is what happens whether you're learning music or design or architecture or you're a dance student. Sort of the core competencies of what it means to be an artist, what it means to ask those what-if questions, prepare our students to be creative catalysts in the world, whether they're working in the arts or whether they go into other fields.
Well, but what do you say to critics, though, who now look at higher education and they say, we're not preparing students for the working world. We need to get them more focused on maybe STEM, maybe other aspects that will more directly impact their working lives. What do you say to those folks who say, that's a little too artsy-fartsy here. We need to get more focused on our higher education?
Well, the first thing I would say is that experts predict that 47% of the occupations in the next 2 decades don't even exist today. So what are we training students for? We don't know what we don't know. The other thing is that research suggests that even students that train in the technical fields like biology or accounting, only half of them end up working in fields related to what they studied. So we are living in a world what they call sort of protean careers. People are moving across sectors, across occupational roles. In fact, the average number of jobs that someone will hold between the age of 22 and 44 is 11 different jobs. So we've got to train students to have a broad toolkit of creative competencies that they can flexibly deploy in a range of occupations, because that's the reality of the lives they're going to live in. So, so the arts are about discipline, about practice, about being analytical, theoretical. They're not art. I mean, they're not artsy-fartsy in the sense that students who have a arts degree are somehow graduating without a set of skills that they can use in the workplace. In fact, we've surveyed over 100,000 graduates of arts institutions, and they are gainfully employed. And even when they go into other careers like doctor or lawyer or banking, they say that they're using the skills they learned in art school in their current work.
Can you, and you mentioned all the umbrella of the design and art school and the different little rubrics there within. If I'm a music major, can I figure out, can I move over to design and art? How difficult is that process? Because a lot of creative people are creative in a very specific way, and the visual artist never gets into writing.
Right.
The writer never gets into design, this sort of. How do you make sure that that dynamic exists?
Well, what we find is that when you are actually able to put teams of students together from across disciplines, that they can achieve things that they couldn't do alone, and that they feed off of each other. And the artists, they have to be trained in a discipline. They have to be good at something if they're going to be compelling. But most of them want to solve puzzles, creative puzzles, social puzzles, and they don't care what tools they use. They're agnostic to. They just want to make stuff happen in the world. So exposing them to multiple art forms is a benefit, and they're willing to take and borrow and mash up in order to create the powerful expression that they're after. So how do we do it? I mean, we're still stuck. Many design and art schools still have silos, and that 10,000 hours of what's required to become really great at something doesn't always leave enough room for students to take other subjects. So we're working, and challenging ourselves to give students multiple pathways through. And if they want an interdisciplinary degree, we can help them find a way to do it. And we're creating new schools that are all about interdisciplinarity. So we have our School of Art, Media, and Engineering, which is really at the frontier of any discipline, of trying to put artists and scientists and engineers together and say, play together. Make stuff, and then we'll see where that stuff goes and what it might mean and how it might be related to some practical, useful application.
We've got about a minute left here. Do you think America is in danger of losing its expressive life? Obviously, what you're doing is successful, and it's growing, it's developing, but in general, are we losing a little bit of that?
So here's my feeling about that. We are in some ways experiencing a creative renaissance made possible by new technology. So you look at YouTube and you think about all the creative expression that's happening there. The ability for people to make music in their own homes, to make films. So there's a lot of creativity happening. But the question is that creativity being deployed in the full range of areas of human, social, public life? So are our policy conversations infused with creativity? Do artists have a place at the table? Are our workplaces organized around creativity? And most importantly, is education placing creativity at the center? So increasingly, what the Chinese are looking to us as examples of creative education. They know they're really good at test taking, but they want to prepare students to be able to invent and to imagine. While they're looking at us as a model, we're sort of navel gazing and trying to put more and more testing. We look more like they do now than we did 10 years ago. So, you know, I don't think we're at risk of losing creativity, but we've got to prioritize it in core areas of our lives.
All right, very interesting stuff. Good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Need you, your tenderness, your understanding heart. I hurt for you each minute we're apart. I need my angel now. Miss you. I miss the fun.
Artist, historian, magazine owner, radio personality. Before Bob Bosbell was any of those things, he was a kid growing up in Kingman, Arizona along the iconic Route 66. And Bell's written and illustrated a new book with a title that says it all, The 66 Kid Raised on the Mother Road. We welcome Bob Bosbell back to Arizona Horizon. How you been?
I've been good.
This book is absolutely fascinating. And
Thank you.
And for you, this is your life, Bob Bosbell.
It is.
Why'd you go through some? This would be difficult, I think, for anyone to go. This is everything about you as a kid.
Well, the stuff we can print.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but when I turned 66, I thought if I'm ever going to do a book on growing up on Route 66, I guess I better do it this year. And like most people, I thought, oh, this will be fun. It'll be easy and stuff. It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life because you want to be honest. And sometimes that's really difficult. You're talking about your parents, talking about yourself, talking about your hometown. Nothing's perfect. But my feeling was if I don't tell the truth and there isn't a floor, then you can't have a ceiling. And so that's what guided me.
So is this an autobiography? Is it a narrative history? What is it?
Well, it's a little bit of everything, kind of like me. It's got a little bit of a cartoonist, a little bit of a memoir, a little bit of a love letter to my hometown. It's a history lesson about Route 66 because I didn't see it when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. I was into the Old West, and I would go and buy True West magazine, and nothing ever happened in Kingman. And I thought it was the dumbest place on earth. And I remember looking out at my dad's gas station, sitting in the office and reading True West, and looking up and going, the only thing that happens here is the wind blows 24 hours a day. And I can't wait to get out of here because no history happened here.
Oh my goodness. And now you're of age where you go, a whole lot of history happens, especially along, before we get to Route 66 though, describe what it was like growing up. It sounds like Kingman was a little bit of Mayberry.
Well, a little bit of Mayberry, a little bit of Death Valley. I mean, we were so isolated. I think about it today. It was a dirt road from Kingman to Phoenix. And the reason for that is that merchants in Prescott didn't want us to go that way. They wanted us to drive to Ash Fork on 66 and come down and go through the Black Canyon. And so it was a dirt road. There was no TV. Okay, there was one radio station that didn't like rock and roll. And so we had to listen to KOMA in Oklahoma City for 15 minutes at night.
Yeah.
It was
Sure.
And so things were special because of that.
But in reading the book and looking at the book, because you look at the book as much as you read it,
Right.
It sounded like a little Norman Rockwell action. Everything your little league team did got in the paper.
Yes.
I mean, it sounds almost idyllic in its way.
You know, looking back, it was, and of course at the time we thought we were deprived and we didn't have any of the latest songs, and our fashion was out and stuff like that. But looking back, it really was amazing. And you mentioned Little League, and I am stunned that the adults, they built a Little League field. Now, it wasn't pre-constructed or brought or anything like that. They went and carved out of the desert a Little League field, and these are parents. And they all had day jobs, and my Little League coach was a highway patrolman, and somebody else, worked at the air base.
Sure.
And they would get off work early, and they'd come and they'd teach us how to play baseball, and then they would give over the Thursday night and the Friday night and the Saturday night to coach us at Little League games. Now that's amazing. That is truly amazing.
And it's not like they could stay home and watch TV.
No, because we didn't have it.
You kind of get stuff. Okay, so earliest memory of Route 66.
I was, my parents were westbound on Route 66 and near the Painted Desert. And I remember standing on the transmission hump and looking out, and I saw something rippling on the horizon, and it was distorted, and it was floating in the air. And then all of a sudden we got closer, and it turned into a car, and it blasted past us. And that was my first memory.
That sounds almost like a Coen Brothers film. I mean, something coming down.
Someday
in
it will
Fargo
be.
Yeah,
it will
indeed.
be a Coen Brothers.
What did Route 66 mean to you, though, when you were growing up? Was it the same as Kingman? You couldn't quite see the attraction?
Well, like I said, I didn't see the history. My dad had Al Bell's Flying A. My mother worked at the highway department, and they're doing the roads and stuff. She was a secretary. And then during the summers, when I got older, I worked for the highway department. So we all made our living from the road, but I couldn't see the history of it. You know what I mean? I couldn't see it. And then later, a writer called me, and he said, I saw your article on your dad's gas station in Arizona Highways, and I want to interview you. And I said, oh, okay, fine. And he goes, his first question was, what was it like growing up in such a historic place? And I said it was fabulous.
Are you kidding? What kind of question?
I couldn't see it.
Yeah.
I was looking right at history.
You write that you are confounded and irritated.
I was,
by it.
because to me it was just another road, We made a living on it. We drove to Little League games on it. We drove home from school on it. What was the big deal? It was just asphalt, and it wasn't very wide. It was really about as wide as this table. It was a very, very narrow piece of structure.
But it sounds like you were in Europe, and you had an experience in Europe that kind of reminded you that Route 66 really was a big deal.
It took me going to Spain. I was 5,000 miles from home. My wife was working for the Department of Defense, and she invited me to come over. And I was looking for Cowboy Ground Zero. I figured if I could find where the conquistadors emanated from, I could find where the cowboy came from. And so I was in western Spain, and it's called Extremadura, and I found a small town there that I thought was Cowboy Ground Zero. A day later, we were in Rota, Spain, which is on the beach. And there's a sign there, and it said, this is where Columbus set sail on his second journey to the New World. And so I stood on that beach, and I looked out there, and I thought, oh man, you couldn't pay me to go out there in a modern day boat. Those guys were so amazing, they're so brave. And then I got ready to leave, and I turned around, and on the beach, I saw the Route 66 bar.
Oh my goodness.
And I went,
Yeah.
what goes around comes around. They sent cattle and horses to us, and you know what? We gave them a road back.
Yeah.
And everywhere I went in Spain, they have a magazine, real popular magazine. It's called Ruta 66. And you'll see magnets in the store that say Route 66. It's a big deal.
So it's a big deal now, and obviously, and that it sounds like that was kind of an inspiration for the book. I know your father was an inspiration for the book as
Yeah.
well, and a health incident was an inspiration for the book. And again, did this happen near Route 66?
Oh, yes. My best friend, Charlie Waters, said, I want to get the band back together. And we were called the Exits because
High school band?
we were in high school, we were freshmen in high school, and how do you meet girls? You got to have a rock band, okay? Surf music was all the go, and so we had to have a name. And Charlie said, why don't we call ourselves the Exits, because that's where everybody's going to go when they hear us play. And so we became the Exits. And we were playing all over the place. And so in college, we drifted apart and went our separate ways. And about 5 years ago, Charlie called me and he said, I have a bucket list, and I want to get the band back together one more time. And I want to play where the first job we did. And that's the Elks Lodge in downtown Kingman. So I set it up. We were there, we were practicing, and we were doing, and I'm not making this up, Wipeout. And I had a heart attack
During Wipeout.
during Wipeout. And I don't remember, I remember the first part, but I don't remember the second part. And they saved my life in Kingman. Well, two of the band members had just taken CPR.
Oh my.
And what are the odds that a rock and roller would know CPR? And every 10 minutes you're out, you lose 10% of your brain. And those two guys, Wayne Rutschman and Terry Mitchell, saved my life. The paramedics came and they saved my life at the Kingman Regional Hospital. And we went back the next year to do the real gig, and we raised $20,000 for defibrillators in Kingman.
So, I mean, literally, I mean, your life, I mean, Route 66 is you. I
Yes,
mean, it
yeah.
really is. With that in mind, from Alpha to Omega practically, would you be Bob Bosbell on this set wearing a cowboy hat with an impressive artistic career? You got the magazine, you got the whole. Would you be Bob Bosbell if you were born and raised in Flagstaff or Mesa or Tucson?
No, I would be, but I wouldn't be wearing the cowboy hat. I don't know how to
you
answer
know
that.
what?
But yeah, no, it's true. It's true. And that's true of everybody. You know, we don't realize that these little things add up to.
Do you see that though? Do you
Yeah.
look? I mean, you've looked back more than most people have with this
Yeah.
book at your life.
And the book forced me to do that.
Yeah, and do you see that though? You say, well, this, my goodness, this is why I did X, this is why I did Y.
One of the most profound things to me was my father was from a farming background, from Iowa. And he was drafted in World War II, and they troop train dropped him off in downtown Kingman on his 21st birthday. He's coming down the middle of the street in August, and he says, and I quote, "I will never come back to this hellhole." And it's his birthday. And he's one of 10,000 GIs at the Kingman Air Base, and there's 500 available women. Okay, and my mother's one of them, and she's dating captains and lieutenants, and she picks a buck private from Thompson, Iowa, and they get married. And so I have relatives on my father's side; they're all farmers. And then we moved to Kingman when I'm 9 years old, and all of a sudden there's all these outlaws. These are cowboys, man. They come blasting into the house at Christmas time, smoking and kicking things and yelling. And my eyes are as big as saucers. And so one of the chapters in the book is related to outlaws because my grandmother told about how we were related to John Wesley Hardin, Bigfoot Wallace, and Blackjack Ketchum. And my mom hated it because I'd say, hey, we're related to outlaws. She'd go, no, don't say that. Please don't say that. Because what she heard was we're related to the Boston Strangler, Jack the Ripper, and Charlie Manson.
Sure. And you also write that it's okay to say that my grandfather was an outlaw, but if your father even had a jaywalking ticket, you can't. Don't say anything.
A
about
typical Westerner will punch you in the mouth if you call his daddy a crook, but he'll brag a little when he's telling about his grandpa being an outlaw.
Isn't that something? Do you think, conversely, you missed out on anything being raised in Kingman?
You know, I thought that for a long time because I went through this phase where I thought Kingman was dumb, like I said, and I became a teenager and I really thought it was stupid and I couldn't wait. And I wish we were in California. But I witnessed so many things and I'm so glad that I grew up there. We had Native Americans, Wallapais, Mojaves, and Havasupai. Indians went to my school. And so we'd come down to the valley to play baseball, and on the mound would be Philbert Watahamaji, Havasupai, and the catcher was Nay Nish, and he was a Wallapai. And they wouldn't do signals. They would just go, and saying, you know, this guy can't hit a curve, you know. The batters, I remember we were at Peoria, and the batter would step out of the box, and he'd look at the umpire and go, can they do that? You know, well, I don't think I'd have got that if I'd have grown up in Laguna Beach.
Oh no! I mean, it's again. You read this and you look at this, and I did see a little Norman Rockwell there, maybe a little tilted Norman Rockwell,
Yeah.
but Norman Rockwell nonetheless. When you go back, if you go, I don't know how often you go back up there, but if and when you go back, do you look? I know your dad's original gas station is it on a reservation in Peach Springs? Long gone, right?
Long gone. It's hard to find the foundation.
Are other things long? Are things pretty much intact there? How's it look to you?
Every time I go back, I was just there. Charlie Waters, my best friend, just passed away. And so I was there for the memorial service. Every time I go back, something else is fading or gone. And I finally realized that when I was a kid, the Old West was 50 years in the past.
Yeah.
And we would go out into these ghost towns, White Hills, Signal, Gold Road, Oatman, and these places were falling over and then they'd be gone. And now I realize we're 50 years from when I was growing up, and all the Route 66 stuff is fading the same way.
So basically, you've got the generational shift here. Your book is obviously much focused on you as a young guy.
Yeah.
You do a follow-up on the crazy years, the new times, and the KSLX and all that kind of business? Because you touch on it in the book, but is there another graphic autobiography / narrative history ready to go?
Well, let's put it this way. I wouldn't be able to dedicate that one to my grandson.
No.
Because I was a rock and roll drummer and an underground cartoonist.
Yeah, well, you
Yeah,
were. Yes,
yeah,
you
yeah,
were.
yes, I was.
So what are you doing these days? What's going on with you?
Well, we're doing a lot of stuff out at True West. I just was the artist in residence in Lincoln, New Mexico. There's a whole bunch of things breaking on the Billy the Kid story. And I'm looking at doing my next book, which is probably going to be more of a graphic novel on Mickey Free.
Wow, interesting. Well, congratulations on this book. It's almost like a yearbook the way it's graphic, it's big, lots of pictures, which I like, but
Yeah.
but it just sounds like it must have been a hoot to do. I mean, difficult, but a hoot to do.
It was very rewarding.
Well, congratulations on this. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And Wednesday on Arizona Horizon, we'll have an economic special. We'll learn why the state's exports are lagging national numbers, and we'll hear about a report on the top 10 U.S. cities and states for job growth. That's at 5:30 and 10 on the next Arizona Horizon. That is it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thank you so much for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.